So I was going to sleep earlier, so about 3 in the morning when I got a call with a couple of other people's group call, and the subject was this one person that had basically pissed off the entire group, for lack of a more wanting term. Um, it's really sad that people don't understand how to treat others with some level of decency. It's really pathetic. But let me start this off by discussing the interaction I had with them. I met this person April of last year in a Discord server. That was not their own. They had another server would later that I would later join. But between the period of April to September, me and this person have weekly one-on-one VCs. Those are those personal calls in Discord between two people. And by my recollection, they seem to enjoy them. So it went on for about half a year, and then I joined their server. And after I got in that server, I saw a change. There was like a new person where they were basically the first instance where they could be opposed to something I did in there. They found a way to pretty much conflate it. I simply said I wasn't going to join the server again because there was an agreement that was made when I joined that was broken, and I was called all types of names by this person. And they basically just completely shifted on me after this happened. And I was surprised by it because if I'm speaking from someone in to September, I'm not thinking that they're going to, at the flip of a button, the turn of a hat, magically have an issue with me. And I guess I shouldn't say magically because there was a reason for it. It's just when you speak to someone for that long and then they go from trying to speak to you every week to go away. You're like, what the hell? But among the because I haven't spoken to them since October, we apparently made up. I use that with quotations because they basically acted in the same way as before us making up, so it didn't really have a difference. This person claimed that I was obsessed with them because I wanted to have one-on-one VCs on Discord. Now, mind you, this is the same person who, for not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 months participated in those very same one-on-one VCs. Now, if I'm going to claim someone is obsessed with me, or at least with doing something with me, I surely am not going to participate in that behavior for half a year without interruption or criticism, right? But this is what I said when I met, like the dead weight friends, because you got these people who try to convince you when you speak to them that you're good acquaintances. I at one point had this user say they would invite me to their house, and it's so disturbing that the first instance these people get to basically turn on someone, they just jump for it like a rabbit. So during this call last night, or rather, I guess this morning, you had three other people who were telling their stories about this person, and the entire time I'm sitting here with this conversation going on, I should also mention that I stopped speaking to this person back in October. The other three continued to speak to this person well into this year. And I said to them, you know, why did it take you so long to walk away? Because the first instance where I got treated like trash, let me do the snap. I got out. I withdrew because I think, and this is why a lot of the chick stuff can be so annoying. When you know your self worth, you know what you are willing to put up with, what you're willing to tolerate. And there has to be something you get out of tolerating that. Like right now, I'm doing a stream and there's a chance you can hear some little crying thing in the background. Those are circumstances that are not ideal to doing a stream, but it's the kind of stuff I deal with if I'm trying to be in the circumstance I'm in. So what I'm saying is there's always a trade-off. And when you look at the trade-off of this person is annoying to speak to because they repeat the same stupid stuff over and over. They are not giving you what you want and they're talking to you like they're crazy, then that was signal for me to not interact with that person anymore. And it's been really disturbing that you have so many people who basically, I mean, they just put up with anything. Like I'm sitting here listening to one of the guys, and he goes, "Oh, person I like, by the way, who's saying it, so it's not a shot at him, but he's talking about how he was insulted by this person, how he turned his back on him." And I'm just sitting there like, man, you didn't see the complete 180 that was done on me in the span of a week. It wasn't like it was some kind of, gradual thing. This was the first time this person had a problem with anything I ever did in the whole 6 months of us speaking to each other. That's one of the reasons I hate Discord so much, in particular the servers, because I've never seen a positive correspondence that I had with someone just completely railroaded over one thing in particular, over just one new factor. When I got in that server, that man transformed. You would think he was an Autobot or Decepticon. But look, this isn't even just about Discord because Discord acts, all kind of ways. When I did the video this past Friday about the chick that basically promised she would do the voice acting and then skedaddled, uh, you can look at the stuff I was saying in there for more context, but it's crazy as hell to have someone claim that they're your friend in the same 5 or 6 day period where they admitted to you later on they were trying to get you to leave them alone via not responding to anything you say to them. And it's like one of the reasons I don't use that term that often is because of stuff like that. This is a broad who, and I did forget a bit about this during the when I was scripting the video because just there's so many little details that tend to get left out. This is a person who, at the end of November, stated they wanted to speak, that we should continue talking because you like my personality, even if I don't want to go on a date, so I don't see why we can't continue to speak. And in the span of less than 2 weeks, they go from that to, I don't think we should talk anymore. After laughing their goofy mental patient sounding self off in every call we had, or, just what I'm saying is when you look at the way the person acts when you speak to them, it's like the complete opposite of what they end up doing. That's why I said in the video it's red herring because I'm not going to look at some hoe who's giggling every 10 seconds and think that she's dissatisfied with our relationship or correspondence or whatever term you want to use for that. I would just use correspondence because I don't want to make it seem like it's anything more than it is. You're just the guy they pull out on the phone to laugh at. But it was crazy as hell because, like, I couldn't believe when she admitted this when we spoke again in March. I was shocked. I said, "Who's stupid enough to say in the span of 12 days, let's continue speaking?" And then you get, what is it, like 2 or 3 calls where you supposedly enjoy it. And then after that, I don't see why we should continue speaking if this is hurting you. It's like, Heffa, who said anything about hurting someone other than you? That's why I had this one line from this somebody's, I forgot who it was. They gave an Oval Office an inaugural address, and in the speech they're like, I don't claim to have a window into men's souls. That's what that chick claimed to have, because at no point did I ever indicate to this broad that I'm hurt by speaking in a platonic manner. I couldn't care less because I was done with chicks anyway. But it was this person's own projection, like that. Their little guilty conscience of leading someone on week after week that made them decide to make that claim. I don't want you to be hurt anymore. It's like I'm so hurt as I'm laughing and making jokes on the phone. Yeah. I'm so great at masking the pain. Like I said, when you get to a point where you talk to a whole bunch of these clowns and they do the same thing, you don't usually their words and the actions they have tend to fall out a lot more. What actual friend said, "Let's continue speaking"? Yeah, I that's the just that was one of the red flags. Well, you remember what I told you, Sky, when they say they're not interested, a lot of those chicks, I cut them off immediately. That was the one mistake I made with that broad, not cutting her off right after speaking to her. But I guess the main thing I was looking for was just attention because I hadn't had any from abroad, and like I think that was 5, 6, 7 months. Hey, but don't you worry. After the scam she pulled this year, I will never. Once a chick gets cut off by me, that's going to be it. There's going to be no redemption arcs. She's not going to be like Frieza and get to come back every couple of years. Like I swear, these when I really just think about what she did the second time around, it is crazy as hell. It's like wow, you had a really crappy showing the first time in terms of your reliability and the stuff you were saying, and now you get to repeat it again. Yeah, but I guess to go beyond the chick stuff because you do have a lot of people who try to assume that you know how people are they try to use the chick stuff as some kind of like gateway into everything about you. So one of the lies that was repeated for a while was you are socially awkward because you are not with a woman, so you probably act this way around other types of people as well. And it was really funny because when I think about a lot of the platonic interactions I've had, most of those are cut off by me for very specific reasons. Things that I can easily say and not really have any uncertainty for why it's over. Sky says, yeah, it's easy to fall back in with a woman if one gives you a lot of attention. Happens to the best of us. Well, like I said, I understand when I was talking about the you know the ding with the baby and all that. I get why the guy would put up with what he did because when you genuinely believe that you're not going to get with anyone else ever, uh, it's hell, and you'll tolerate a lot of stuff. That's why a lot of these chicks last as long as they do. It's not because they're actually entertaining or you have some deep connection with them or any of that trash. It's just you are deprived of attention from the opposite sex as a heterosexual man. It's difficult to put up with that month after month, year after year. So even if I would prefer that people just stop speaking to them altogether, which is what I've done for the most part. I still get it. I comprehend the appeal. It's just that at a certain point, I don't put up with it because they start to do stuff that's a little too stupid. Like there's actually a person on here who they're I want to say a semi popular blogger, and they were with some broad who got arrested, or rather was going to get arrested until they took the fall for her crime. So this caused them to have harder times getting work and all that. So basically, I'm just saying that those are the kind of situations I would never find myself in because I'm not going to let some random person on here, male or female, ruin my chances of actually doing stuff in the real world. It's not, again, definitely not by choice is the point. There are just certain sacrifices you shouldn't make for people. Self-preservation is a really important thing. I wish more people thought about it. They'd be a lot less reluctant to put up with some of the stuff that they do. No, I'd say out of any of the interactions I've had that probably are disturbing, it was the one with this one guy who, what did he do? Okay, so if someone were to claim that they're so concerned about what's a good topic, sports, and there's someone that I enjoy speaking to that I think is smart, even if I don't think sports is that important, which I don't, I'm not going to go out of my way to make that clear to them. So when they mention it, I might not say anything. I might just let them speak. But I'm not going to say, well, I mean, this other sport's much more important. So I was complaining about a part of U.S. policy toward this one country, and I was talking about all these thousands of people that have died. And like I know a lot of people don't care about that kind of stuff. I get it, whatever. But if you are trying to speak to someone long term, platonic manner, whatever the hell, I think it's incumbent upon you to recognize what things that person likely does not want to hear about their worldview. Um, so this person like tries to basically claim that this one person's assassination was more important than these what was it, like 85,000 people that died, some some big huge statistic. And it was really weird because I would never think to compare those two, just two random awful events to try to figure out which one's more important. Because if it's bad, it's bad. It's not really, I don't feel a need to rank tragedies. But I basically said to them, hey, look, I can end this right now. I don't need to play some little comparison game. And even if that wasn't something the person directly, I guess that's different from what happened with that one on Discord because it's not necessarily an insult toward me, but it's the fact that you're made acutely aware of the fact this person doesn't like this particular conflict. And then you try to downplay it in front of them and think there's going to be no kind of pushback or retaliation on my part. Okay, Sky says, I don't talk to women like that anymore. I'm polite when spoken to by a woman, but I end those conversations quickly in my experiences. Catty and drama filled. I mean, I saw one of them sit on the phone for 5 hours talking about all kinds of different people. Like you would think they were talking about the whole Raw roster or SmackDown roster. All these different characters get mentioned. That's another thing I noticed that whenever I have a conversation with someone in real life that I actually like, usually the entire thing, unless it's like how do I explain this? Um, from what I've observed, it's very rare to get a dialogue with me about other people. Like if I'm in some hours long conversation, I usually just talk about myself or the news or something that directly relates to my views on things. And it's so disturbing that you'll actually have people who talk about a bunch of random characters they claim to not care about hour after hour after hour after hour. And this is a perfect example. That same guy who I stopped speaking to on Discord, there was a week long period. There's a user on YouTube he really doesn't like. There was a week long period late last year where that person didn't make any videos. They were just gone. They took a break. And I watched for a span of I think it was 8 or 9 days as this guy talked about this other man every single day for at least 2 or 3 hours. And sometimes I wouldn't even be there. I would because they like to jump between you know how Discord is. They jump between two, three different servers. I don't feel the need to go in all of them. But I would hear, oh, in here we discussed this, and here we talked about this. And I was saying this, like I never confronted him over, but I just thought to myself, this is your life. You enjoy coming on this website every day to talk about the same person who doesn't care about you, who you know doesn't care about you because he's actually doing stuff in real life. And nobody thinks that's weird or creepy or crazy, but the point of bringing up this behavior is that when I see someone like this who talks about another man every day for a week, if not longer, because it was after that week I just said, screw it, I'm done talking to you. Uh, it is so creepy to have that person later claim you're obsessed with them when you see them talking about that person somebody else every week. Okay, Elliot, the title is Dead Weight. What is Piccolo's absorbed arm? What is that? It's dead weight. Unrelated to the topic, but with the job struggling you were having, the people who didn't hire you aren't working. Hell, they might be out of the job revenge. Well, it's actually kind of funny because when I did the stream on Saturday, I had someone who said because I mentioned that one of the employers contacted me when I was getting something to eat. It was at 5 p.m., which is known as dinner time. Uh, Someone actually said, like unironically, I think they might have thought, and remember, they scheduled to speak to me the following day at 1. Of course, they didn't actually call me, but they actually said that they think that the employer thought I wasn't serious about the position just because I said I was getting something to eat. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, if that were true, why would they schedule to speak to me the next day? And also, why the hell, like, who's that damn finicky? I'd like to know, like, what you like. They called me at dinner time. It was 5 o'clock. What else would I be doing at 5? That's like calling someone at 12:30. Oh my god, I can't believe you're eating lunch. Like, if you call someone at a period where you can infer reasonably that they're eating food, and then you schedule speak to them the next day, I don't really see what the problem with is that what that is. It only became a problem when they didn't keep up their part of the bargain. I tell you, I got subs that say some of the craziest stuff. They decided they weren't going to call you back when they found out you were eating food. They thought you might be taking it too lightly. Wish people would cool it with the speculation, because you'll go crazy with some of the stuff people write on here. Oh, you didn't get hired because you didn't go to a fish fry. They need to find every reason possible to discredit your efforts. And again, they sound more conspiratorial than you. You're sitting there just thinking these people are weird. They're trying to come up with 8 or 9 different reasons for why somebody didn't call someone back. Person might not have been in the office. Person might have, just you can't. I can't play that game. I'm not. It's not healthy for me to sit there and have 99 different questions of why the outcome was the way it was. But as far as the people who deny you weren't working aren't working, hell, they might be out of a job. It's funny because the just this morning, actually, I was sent. Well, I'll talk about it this week. Basically, because of what I've been sent this morning, I'm starting to think that's just some automated crap that they send to people. And you get the same email, was it like 2 weeks later, and it reads the exact same way, and then you send a response to that email, and they don't say anything specific. Yeah, that's not looking like an actual person. But there's another user on Discord, and that website just loves to rear its ugly head when you talk about disillusioning people. Um, who I met about maybe the year before last year, and I one day was speaking to them, and I just kind of basically I sent them a news article about someone abusing an animal, and the article has the video for the animal in it. It was on, I think it was Daily Mail. Now, when you click on the article, you don't have to actually watch the video. You have to click the video for it to start playing. So I was sending it to them because I thought it was a messed up story. This is after I sent them a story about this guy that killed 4 people, including his son and daughter, or his son that he had with his daughter. That's how disturbing the story was. And this person, when they got that story, reacted regularly. They said, "Oh, that's so gross," but they seem to have read it and whatnot. So when they get this article about this animal that doesn't even die, I'm not trying to make what happened to it sound light, but I think the outcome of this animal surviving with a few injuries versus 4 people getting massacred is a slightly better outcome, if we're being objectionable. So when they get this article, they're like, "I love animals. Delete this." And I'm like, so you get so freaked out over an article where there's a video that you don't actually have to watch about an animal being abused and living, but when you see an article about 4 people getting murdered, hey, whatever. So um, me and them are also on another website where on the site you have this thing where it's kind of like with the like button where you can click this button that's supposed to help the engagement of people's content, and they would never do it, and I would sit there kind of confused because it's a free thing you do to help someone's content. And whenever you have stuff like that where you can assist someone for, in a capacity where you don't have to actually give them any money or anything that actually costs you something, it's a lot harder for me to rationalize not doing it. Because I've mentioned before, I get where people are tight pocketed online, whatever. But it didn't make sense to me. So right after this happens, I said to myself, you know what? I have to start every conversation with this dude. I have to send him news articles that he halfway will probably likely doesn't even read. Uh, they won't even do this free thing to assist my stuff on this website to help them. And so for a whole month, I didn't even bother saying anything. Well, actually, no, I did a thing where I wanted to see because there's this weird thing where a lot of these people are afraid to, I guess, start a conversation for whatever reason. So I sat back and I said, I'm gonna wait and see how long it takes him to send me a message. And if he doesn't send me a message for all of this next month, I'm just gonna unfriend him on the site because that's it's pointless to be friends on a site with someone that you don't even speak to with any kind of recurrence. Um, I think a month is a decent period to give someone to see if they'll reach out to you or not, because that's literally 30 days of them just being stupid. And on the 28th or like 29th, right before the cutoff point, he's like, "Hey, we haven't spoken in a month." I'm like, you have the ability to message me and you chose not to." So, but I actually did confront him about some of the stuff that I didn't like. And mind you, this is during the quarantine period, so it's when people are, not working, they have more time to do stuff apparently. And every time you critique one of these people for not being as engaged with your stuff as you would like, they always try to hide behind being busy. They use this term as like a shield. And it's harder to do that when you're in a quarantine, but it's especially hard to do that the longer the period of time where you just wouldn't engage with this person's stuff is. So between January and this month, they would not engage any of my content in the slightest. Like that's actually a fact. That's something that the site has proven because it tracks what parts of your stuff. And I guess what I find so frustrating is all you have to do is just click a button every couple of weeks, maybe if every month, once a month. But they hide behind it. I've been busy. Like really, you're using that excuse again? And you're using it during a quarantine and you're using it as we know that you sit on that other website for at least what 5 or 6 hours a day. Like I said, I live in the twilight zone because people, even when you have facts to support how ridiculous you think they are, they still find a way to try to make it seem like it's not. It's just you're the one that's making this a bigger deal than it actually is. It's like, no, this site is very clear about the fact that people need to engage with the person's stuff for it to be seen by more people. And if you've got someone who puts up with you not engaging with their stuff month after month, that's not someone who doesn't recognize that you've been busy. They're just trying to figure out what the hell's taking you so long. That's why I said even when you ask for the littlest things on here, you get this weird blowback. That's how I'm like with that. I like them. I will make the first move, say hi, then I test them, see if they say anything. And if they don't, I drop them because it feels like a waste. Well, I don't know if you remember Sky, but I mentioned that with the lady lacking logic. She went to another state, another country, not Afghanistan or Syria, another US state, and doesn't message me for at least 3 weeks, if not longer. Because I remember it was like the entire month of May of last year, just wouldn't hear anything from this broad. And I call her, and then she doesn't answer, and she sends me a text message talking about, I've been thinking about you. I just thought to myself, what kind of damn clown do you have to be? What no, what you know what? What kind of trickster do you have to be to actually think I'm going to believe after you haven't messaged me at all for almost an entire month that you've been thinking like who's stupid enough to believe that? Matter of fact, you know what? I can actually, I think I might still have the record of it so I can be precise with how, and then Sky, she tried to turn it on its head. But you could have reached out to me too. And I said, I'm not the one who said I was missing anyone. This is, yeah, let me see if I can pull it up. No, that broad vanished. She flew the coop. I mean, you would, and then, oh, Sky, the excuses. I was in a house with other people and it was loud. Uh, and I was just sitting there thinking to myself, who are you fooling? Like, Sky, you have to listen to a 30-year-old broad try to explain to you how loud noises in the house disabled her from walking outside and starting a call. Because that's what I do if it's really, loud here or something. And I'm trying to speak to someone, I just go outside or go walk around the block. There's a lot of ways to interact without having a bunch of noises. There just are. That's why it's pretty disturbing that you actually have someone trying to convince you that, you know, loud noises, I can't do anything, I'm just stuck here. You would think she was a paraplegic, couldn't get her wheelchair out the door. I'm not trying to make fun of disabled people. I'm just saying that when you've got a broad with two working legs and she tries to act like she can't walk outside to start a call, after what is it, like 3 weeks, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. And I didn't buy it. That's why she had to sit there making up excuse after excuse. Oh, my favorite thing was with her was she tried to turn it into story arcs because she did the same thing in December where we didn't speak for like a whole month, and she was like, "Oh, but I thought we had gotten closer since then." I was like, "According to who?" I told you that I love it when they do that. They try to pretend like they have some deep connection, and it's just no, not at all, bro. The only purpose you serve for me is to get banged by. That's it. And once I think I might have mentioned that though. I asked her on a date in our last call. Once she said no to that, it was a wrap. Like I said, I don't have a problem with being honest about, I guess, my intentions. That's why I don't like playing these little, the mind game. Yeah, connection. It's like, oh, you couldn't call me for almost a whole month by choice. You chose to not call. Nobody put a gun to your head. No, there were no loud people 24/7. You just didn't care. And it's cool because I told her I didn't care. That's why I didn't call her. I was just kind of disturbed that you're gonna do something like that and then pretend that. But this is what I was talking about when I said dead weight friend. Because it's like, what do you gain by talking to these people? Like they won't call you. They don't if they can do something for you that's free, like watch a video, thumb it up. They don't even do that. And then you have people say I'm selfish for cutting them off, selfish for not talking to people who don't do anything for me in the slightest. It's just it's really and like I said, you find yourself acquiescing to their petulance at every turn. Uh, the same person who I used to have the VCs with for 6 months. Oh yeah, one-sided friendship. Well, that's a term, Elliot. But the same person who pretended that these one-on-one VCs were so horrible and toxic and so antithetical to what he likes admits that he owes me a one-on-one VC because I told him about some person on his server that was like basically trying to do something to him in there. And I didn't take him up on it because I said I should have gotten one of those when I wanted one of those back in October, not when you decided I was worthy of having one for, I guess, playing special ops in your server. Um, Same thing with the lady lacking logic. You know, you have this broad cancel on you over and over. You cancel on her once, and she has a hissy fit. Like they can make all these kind of errors and gaffes and screw stuff up, and you're supposed to put up with it. But if you ever, oh man, what a sick thing. What a toxic character you are. No, it's very one-sided, and that's why I said I can't for the life of me see what you have to gain. Because even with a lot of the VAs, I only put up with them because a lot of them, if you contact them enough, do actually record stuff. I give them credit for that. You have the ones I really like who you don't have to message at all. I had this one chick, she was like uh, an angel on earth where you would send her something or I would send her something and then she would just do it like all of them in like a week or two. It was perfect. But the rest of them, for the most part, because there's another one that's kind of like that. You have to message them, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? But even though that's kind of annoying a little bit, it's still at the very least. Well, again, my thing is I can put up with that a lot easier because you're actually getting something out of it. With the chick stuff, you're not, you're literally getting nothing out of it except having some bimbo sit on the phone going, I don't see what anyone gains from that. What do you mean by better? What did I say better? That's the problem with the live chat. They have a delay where I might say something and then I'll speak after that and try to figure out what you're referring to. Mm. Damn light always screws up. It gets dark, then it turns light. See what Elliot is referring to. No, this they had another. Who's another clown? Oh, the one. So I did this video about almost 2 years ago called not 2 years ago. It was last year. Excuse me. A snowflake story, and it was like a two videos of that with a snowflake in the title. But basically, there was a guy who I spoke to on Discord for almost responding to Brain. Uh, oh, oh, I guess what he means is my tolerance is more than his or something for the dumb stuff people do. No, but I was saying that there was a guy I used to talk to on Discord for 2 years, and I asked him if he wanted to watch this video, and it was one of the episodes of my show. And as you know, I put a lot of effort into those. But I want this to be clear: if he had said he didn't want to watch it, I would have had no problem with it because I don't try to force people I talk to watch my stuff. I'm not going to make you check out something that I create because you might not like it, and I'd rather just not put someone in that position. Like it's basically me trying to play, I guess, but like not set myself up for failure because if the person doesn't like it, can I really blame myself if I'm the one who asked them to watch it for them not liking it? So when I ask this person if they want to watch it, they say yes, and a week goes by and they still haven't seen it. Now, mind you, they're online at least I'd say 7 hours a day because I would see them. They have the little green uh, check on Discord. I'd see them out. They are in a different country, but they would be on there for at least 8 or 9 hours, like half the day. Even if they're at school, they're just still on Discord. And they'll always talk about some video that they thought was funny, and like basically, you can reasonably assume that they could have seen it in a week, especially with days off, whatever. So okay, I give them another week. They say they'll eventually see it. I give them a third week. Now, mind you, at this time, it was taking roughly a month to do an episode of the show. Now it usually takes 2 weeks, depending on how big the script is. But what I'm saying to you is, when I started to realize that it was taking them as long to watch this one goddamn video as it took me to make the actual video, that's when I had an issue. So I said to this person, if you don't watch this video, I'm not going to speak to you anymore. and I'm in their server at the time. And I think I mentioned this to you before that, or on here before that, I was criticized for a supposed bullying tactic by saying I'm going to not speak to someone anymore if they don't watch a video that they agreed to watch a month ago and have made excuses to not see. So this person now says they're not interested in this type of stuff on YouTube, to which I said, do I have to put it on Daily Motion or Vimeo? But I was pissed because that was them now changing their tune conveniently. Like it took you a month to realize you weren't into this stuff on YT. Like, just it was stupid. It was dumb. So I um refused to speak to them anymore. I blocked them on I think like two different websites, and that was it. They killed a quote unquote, because they would call me their friend as well. And me and this person did speak for a pretty lengthy time, from early 2017 to like mid what was it, like May of last year, April of last year. Well, I think, well, Elliot, they set themselves up for that. You told me you were going to watch my video, and then week after week you didn't do it, and you just kept making excuses. Like I don't really see where I'm at fault for holding someone to their word. Like I said, if they had just said I don't want to see it, that would have never happened. I would still probably be speaking to them. But I can't, because like this is my thing. People want to let someone down and not expect a consequence. I worked very hard on that video. And I don't need to hear some clown on the other side of the world tell me they're not going to watch it after saying they would for a month, and they expect me to want to keep talking to their silly self. No, they want to piss you off and then be able to pretend like nothing happened. Oh well, I'm not interested in this kind of stuff on YT. It's like, go to hell. A test it was to see if they were real mates. It's not even that, because, like I said, I don't make people I know watch my stuff. But if I work really hard on something and you consent to watching it, and I give you a month to see it, that and you're like I don't I can't put up with laziness like that. That's really ridiculous. Somebody can send me a video that they want me to see, and it's not going to take me, even if it took me a month to see it, which I don't think it would, I would still see it. I wouldn't then after a month go, well, I am not into this kind of stuff on YT. Like, who does that? But this is why I said that people always try to pretend that there's something good about being friends with people, and oh, this is my friend. But then your supposed friends treat you like trash. They don't take things that you take seriously, which, whatever, difference of opinion, but you're going to purposely say some crap that's going to piss this person off, that you know is going to piss them off because they've talked about serious this to them. You got another person who you ask to watch a video, you give them a whole month, they don't do it, and then they start backtracking and pretending that they never made that verbal agreement. And you're supposed to just put up with all of this. Or you got the guy who says you're obsessed with them for wanting one-on-one VCs after he participated with you in one-on-one VCs for half a year. I truly believe that a majority of what's the word for it? I'm trying to think of the word friendship is overused. People, they just want to have someone to talk to that they can treat any kind of way they want, that they can ignore as often as they want, as you saw with the broad in that video from this past week. I mean, these are horrible people. And look, they might be, good at some other stuff, but I wouldn't want to be friends with any of them after the way I was treated. And see, remember, it's a lot easier to walk away from most of them, because if they're not abroad, you're not trying to get banged. So there is nothing to gain, in terms of fulfilling some sexual role as it is with people putting up with the chick stuff. I haven't had an issue with a friend in years because I stopped years ago getting involved with anyone. Sky says, if I would have gotten any goofy text like doesn't have, I wouldn't respond and block them. I am now easily irritable to nonsense and have no patience for it. I know Sky doesn't believe in nonsense. That's why he was quick to point out that I was ghetto and couldn't speak in complete sentences and probably lived under a train. So we know Sky doesn't tell any tales. He calls it like it is. I swear mild paranoid personality disorder has warped into my personality. I can't go as far as calling anyone my friend because it takes a very long time, anyways. It's not even just calling someone your friend. I never referred to or thought of any of these people as anything but acquaintances because I know that they do this type of stuff and they think as long as you believe or they believe they're friends with you, that it's going to, like you can't cut them off because a lot of this stuff is unacceptable. And usually it takes some kind of like I'll put up with certain types of things, but then they'll do something that just like makes the whole what's a word for it? I guess it's kind of like you have these early warning signs of stuff you don't like, and then after a while they do something that's so ridiculous that it just is the boiling point. Um, so with the guy that wouldn't watch the video, I was trying to speak to him by a VC, and he would just keep putting it off, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why can't you do? Because sometimes don't want to just type a bunch of stuff to someone. I don't like writing novels. That's why it's a lot less interesting for me to talk to people in text. Because oftentimes, I've mentioned this before, one of the reasons I hate speaking to people in that format is that they like let's see, write a paragraph, they cherry pick in their response. So you'll write maybe 8 sentences and they'll respond to two or three of them. Even if their response is as big as what you wrote to them, they'll pick out which pieces to acknowledge. Because I saw that on Wikipedia where they did that, where you write them a message, where like, hey, this happened over here, this happened over there, this happened right here, and then oh well, in regards to what happened right here, I'm like, no, dingbat, I sent you this just in reference to the other two things as well. Address it. I'm gonna start doing that every time I talk to someone by writing. I'm gonna say, address this sentence. No, I'm a copy and paste. Address this sentence. Address this sentence. Like the following sentences have not yet been addressed. And then I'm gonna say, please address these sentences so that I can respond back to you. I only consider two people in my life friends. Everyone else is an associate. Yeah, I don't know what people like. What the obsession is with that term? Why does everyone have to have a friend? As far as like they have to accuse people of being their friends when the other person never said they were. Like with the lady lacking logic, I caught that bimbo calling me her friend on two or three different occasions, and I kept saying we are just associates slash acquaintances because I genuinely do not want to be friends with the broad that was as stupid as she was, especially when I'm not getting banged by it. If that was in the equation, maybe I'd put up a little bit more, but no. No, they use that term to hide behind for whenever they act out of line. It's that feeling where people have got to belong. Oh, like we have to be part of some group or uh, like manufacture an understanding of each other. Is that what you're saying? Because you could tell she really was trying to, and it was weird because a lot of the people who do that, where they try to pretend you're friends with them, a lot, especially the chicks, they always act like they're these little quasi celebrities. Like with the lady lacking logic, she was talking about how her friends of 15 years had never treated her the way I had, and I was like, well, then go talk to those douchebags, then, ho. And then with the one from this past week, you saw in that screenshot where because me and her at a VC where she was talking about she had friends for 6 years and all, and I guess the more I think about that particular line from that VC, I'm like, this broad has friends, claims to have friends that she's had for years, but then she's cutting me off every 2 months. Like the second time we spoke lasted about as long as the first time, where it's like a month and a few weeks. I'm like, what the hell do they have for that you don't keep doing this to them? I said, well, whatever. You're not gonna be able to do it the third time because I'm done with you. Like I said, who gives some? Only a crazy whore would give someone their number and then stop speaking to them the day after. That was really weird. I don't care what anyone says. That is indefensible. It makes no sense. Okay, Megumi said, yeah, I've always had very few friends that I keep in contact with, some regularly. Everyone else are just acquaintances. Far too many chicks, especially um, let me try reading that again. Far too many chicks, especially that claim how they want to be friends with you, but treat you like you're an idiot by acting weird and doing very strange things that jeopardize the friendship anyway. Yeah, especially that one from this week. Like I said, well, not from this week. I cut it off with her like 2 weeks ago, but it's very weird to give somebody a number and then right after that stop talking to them, or uh, if you saw that video where I mentioned that she had the profanity laced message, she sent that paragraph to me I remember I screenshot at the time a half an hour after agreeing to speak in another call later that week. Like after we got off the phone and half an hour later, here's some paragraph about you're disgusting and it's like what the hell? And like I said, I didn't take it seriously because she said don't contact me or my friends again, and I've never interact with any of the clowns that she calls friends. So I figured she was probably writing something drunk, but it was just weird. Like it's that same kind of mindset of they're trying to I guess be friends and get you to pull away from them. It's weird. But hey, whatever. I at least don't have to deal with that crazy hoe anymore. Megumi, imagine I schedule to speak to you on I don't know Thursday, and then 30 minutes from now, like after I end the stream, you get a DM from me saying, what did she say? You're a disgusting boy. You can't take a hint. Try to message me or my friends again. I dare you. Profanity, expletive. Just imagine the other way around. If you sent them, oh, it would be World War III. They would lose their mind because with the Lady Lacking Logic, I started to call her out of her name. I think it was like a month or two before we stopped speaking to each other, and this was after multiple instances of her calling me uh, different expletives at certain points. But she could dish it out, but once you start calling her some stuff, I can't believe you would say this about me, and you would use these terms. Like, oh well, get over it. Did the exact same thing, and then she tried to quantify it. I might have called you this once, but you said a lot of. I was like, so wait a second. If you call me, I don't know, a prick. If I want to call you a hoe, I have to wait for you to call me a prick 8 times. Like what? You know what I'm saying? It's just her trying to justify being an evil hoe. There's a saying that said, "Try when." Man, screw that. Well, you don't remember the saying I had in my when I did the last romance video? There's a time and place for everything, and I was giving all different examples of how if this stuff persists, I'm just gonna say screw it because you can't keep tugging something in front of someone's face year after year and giving them no results. I genuinely mean it. I think that even if I met abroad now, I would still say it shouldn't have taken that long, and it damn sure shouldn't have taken that much effort. Um, so, all this stuff about trying at 30 and 40 and 50 and 60, no one has time for that. Also, again, people say that because they try to make the claim that chicks are gonna get so mature, and both of these broads, both the Lady Luck and Logic and the one that was in that video, are both over 30 years old. So can it with that. These aren't exactly fresh face, straight out of high school clowns. These are people who've been out for a while. I remember the Lady Luck and Logic said she turned down 2 marriage proposals, and I was like, yeah, that already shows how crazy you are. Yeah, Elliot, like that. I even brought up when I did the admits jealousy video that like the Kobe crash. I guarantee you his daughter didn't think she was gonna die. Not even what a sixth of the way through this year. So what the hell are we making all these plans to speak to someone in 10 years for? It's weird. Of course, they'd want to try settle down with an actual dude that wants them when they've had their fun and had their had their triangles ran through with many guys. Well, that was what I had said. That what purpose would it? How would it serve us to put up with getting ignored by them year after year, and then when they want to finally, as a collective, stop ignoring us, we're supposed to go like, "Oh, this is so great. I've This was definitely worth being treated like trash for a continuous period." Told you, you got to acquiesce to their wants and desires, but if you want something out of them, it just won't happen. I've yet to see a single one of these people do something that was in my favor. It's always, if you want to speak to them by VC, you got to make sure that their schedule is so perfect, and you have to be the one to even suggest it in the first place. The only one that was really trying to like go out of their way to keep that VC thing going was the Lady Lack and Logic, and that's just so she could. You remember what I said? She goes to date some other dude, and you get to be the little jester clown that comes out and is actually entertaining. Like I said, if I'm not good enough for one date, I'm sure as hell not good enough for 100 stupid phone calls. What is this? Oh, spam. Tired of all these bots. People want to post links on videos and write all kind of weird stuff. This dude talking about hot girls website. They're not even leaving it on the romance video. They left it on that stream I did yesterday about so. That chick was insane and stupid till the end. Well, you remember what happened to Lady Lack and Logic? She exhibited some stalker type behavior because she got blocked by me on every website and then tried to email me. And I'm just like, go away. Vanish. Skedaddle, but I can't wait for someone to tell me that you're out. She was out of your league, and I don't know why you would even think that she was ever interested. It's like, what chick that is not interested does something like that? I don't think she was interested either. I just think she was a dumb broad that wanted to have the best of both worlds. But it's really kind of creepy that you have stuff like that where they want you to speak to them forever. That's why I call it dead weight friendships. Like they want everything out of you. Oh yeah, there must be something wrong with you, despite the fact that bastard kids out. What was it? Outnumber 72. They can't keep a man. That tells you. Did you meet these women online, or is it or in person somewhere for the initial meeting? If you first met them online, never met them in person, explains why they're so. Well, no, I actually met the Lady Like and Logic in person one time, and that's why I said that. That's why I sabotaged the interaction we had because at that point we had been speaking for I think uh, it's like 6 months or 7 months, and that hoe acted like she didn't want to shake my hand. And I'm like, well, who would be stupid enough to come meet someone that they don't even? It's just they act weird, but like I said, that's why I ended it. I was like, I'm good. No, the other one is really dumb because on Discord you have the option to make yourself not appear online. And she was online, and you call her, she'll let the thing ring. Um, you send her a message, she'll just let you roll. It's so weird. But like I said, I'm never gonna bother with that chick again. She came back and found a way to do even more damage than before because she got herself involved with the project and made all these commitments and whatnot, and then just disappeared right after. She was a really stupid hoe for doing that. That's why I said I don't know what's wrong with people like it because you might say it's just chicks being dumb, but it's the guys too. Like you'll tell them something and they let it go through in one ear out the other. Like a guy is telling me during a quarantine, I'm so busy and I can't uh click this one button on this website. Like who believes that? Who believes that during a quarantine where you're at home all damn day, you can't click a button on the web. Like, and remember, we know for fact he's on that site for hours every day. But that's what I'm saying. Like, these people really think I'm stupid, and this is normal behavior to them. Just claim something, even if there's proof against it, and hope it will be resolved. And I said this is not going anywhere. It doesn't make sense to me why you can't press a damn button from time to time, whether that's once a couple of weeks, once a month. Like, it is so weird. But again, people they don't care unless it affects them. So I said a lot of these friendships are one sided because it's just you acquiescing. But that call this morning was really eye opening because I wasn't fully aware of the way that other people had been treated by this person, and it's not like me to sit in a call discussing another man ever. But it was, like these were not people who are what's the good term for it? We're not detractors of this person. We all considered ourselves acquaintances. One even said he was their friend, and he just betrayed every last one of us. And it was just funny because, like, I guess wised up to it the earliest of anyone because I was the only one that hadn't spoken to him since last year. Okay, Megumi says they know they can just say anything and just get away with it. They are so used to that kind of behavior, they'll just keep doing it to others. Oh, Megumi, did you see the comment where the dude wrote that you remember that place that called me at 5 and I told them I was getting something to eat and then they said they were gonna call me the next day and they didn't? You remember he wrote that they thought you weren't being serious you weren't serious when you said that you were getting something to eat, even though I was and it was dinner time. Do you remember him saying that? And like if they weren't serious, why would they schedule it for the next day? Like that's weird. That's why I said I got the like you got some crackpots on this site. They just come up with all kind of conspiracy theories don't even make any sense. Hey Elliot, you're getting something to eat because I called you during an hour that people usually eat. Well, I'm not going to call you back tomorrow, but I'm going to say that I'm going to call you back tomorrow, even though I could just hang up right now or say goodbye. I'm under no obligation to schedule to speak to you again. But I'm going to schedule to speak to you again. But the real reason I'm not going to speak to you again is because you're getting something to eat. Yeah, his comment was really ridiculous, and that's why I'm really considering just stop sharing personal stuff on here because there people are writing like weird stuff. But like I said, it's all having to do with you got to blame the. It's always got to be something I did. The one person trying to make stuff work has to be the reason it doesn't pass or succeed. It can never be a variety of things. It can never be someone else. Like I said, I'll never get over the with the chick stuff being told that because you didn't wear this or you didn't look this way, that it just kept. It's like the people weren't even there, and they apparently have this great insight into the minds of all broads. But then at the same token, are going to say that they're not all the same, even though you're trying to tell me that what they like. So you're promoting the vagina hive mind while also saying it doesn't exist. Oh, that person, by the way, got a video made about them this week. That was, I think it was like almost 40 minutes long. And I was watching it because it was, for some weird reason, people can't just insult someone by themselves. Now they have to make it a collab where it was like three people talking trash about him. I was just thinking to myself, none of this would have ever happened if he had just stopped speaking to these people like I did. Like I don't talk, none of the people that were in that video have I spoken to either at all or since last year because I'm genuinely done with this whole group on Discord. And he just kept involving himself with them. And they'll claim they don't like him, but then they'll be in the same servers with them. They'll be in hours long VC. Like that's weird. That Ferris wheel just keeps on spinning. No, they love. I mean, Megumi, if some of these people had their way, you would spend the rest of your life trying to go on and get one date out of a broad. It's like now into year 17 of the failed attempts to initiate a romantic relationship. I can't wait to be blamed this year for, despite being the only one trying to make it happen. And it's like they don't even care. Well, they halfway care. They care enough to give advice, but not to actually look at the fact that there's another person involved, which is the chick who's got to make the decision to reciprocate, or else the trash isn't going to happen. Same thing with this guy. When he wanted to speak to me in one-on-one VCs, I wanted to speak as well. We spoke from April to September. When he stopped wanting to speak, we didn't have any more. That's not because I didn't see what was in front of me. It's because the guy said, I don't want to do these anymore. I think he was stupid for saying it, but it still stopped happening because half of the people involved said, we're not, I'm not putting up with this, or I'm not renewing this. Yeah. Well, that's really all relationships, platonic and romantic, are. They're two people. Uh, and in some cases, unfortunately, you have one person who does more work. And in some cases, you have one person that wants more than the other person wants. Like with even for as annoying as Ladylike and Logic was, I probably still would have spoken to her if she had at least consented to the idea of one date. Because again, that's something that's a long time coming, and I don't need to be friends with them anymore. I'm good with yeah, but this is before the virus, Elliot, because I stopped speaking to her in July, so this is before that thing basically stopped everyone's lives. Same reciprocity is dead. Good luck. Fine. Oh, Sky, I already know. Why do you think I stopped? Like I have no delusions. It's all wishful thinking. No, it's the same thing with that guy. The other one, if he had watched the video, I would still be speaking to him. I gave him a whole month. He's online every single day for hours. And he not only chose to not watch it, he also chose to pretend or to now say he wouldn't watch it, which was the final nail in the coffin. You can't let people do things that disappoint you massively and then show there's no consequence for that. And sometimes the consequence, when you use that word, people might think it's like some violent thing. It could just be you saying, hey, I'm good. We don't need to speak anymore. And there has to be physical attraction. There is a reason why infidelity is in top 3 reasons for divorce. The whole personality and love rhetoric is a lie, always has been. Yeah, they always try to pretend that they're not trying to get dudes that turn them on from the moment they see them. Hey, Sky, I love it when they're like, "I really think you're funny and smart." Oh, what about my appearance? You hear crickets. Because that was one thing the lady like in Logic never complimented me on ever. So like, you will really lose a lot of self-esteem with this chick stuff. Like I that's why I said when you come on here, you have to be prepared to, I guess, especially if you show your face, be just spoken about in all kind of nasty ways. Like I don't think I'm ugly. I don't think I'm some very very exquisitely handsome character, but I don't think you have to be to get with someone. So it's really sad that people have to always make one person out to be the like this very crippled figure. Like if one day I might go back and pull up those old messages people wrote. Some of that stuff was just incredibly toxic, and it's like you guys are writing this to someone who is just disillusioned over the chick thing. Like that doesn't happen every day on the site. And like I was the architect of making a video about a bunch of broads being stupid. You better be able to make women laugh 24/7 like Yeah, Sky, that's the craziest part that every time I got on the phone with one of these chicks, it's the same story. You make them laugh over and over, and then you ask them out eventually, and then you're not good enough, and then they get surprised and you want to cut them off entirely. It's like, I don't want to be your damn clown. Yeah, you're the dancing monkey, entertaining and hoping she likes you. Well, listen, I'll put up with, I guess, giving some entertainment. Um, Probably for about as long as until like when they say they're not interested, that's when I just I vanish like Jimmy Hoffa. I wish men had more pride. Well, like I said, Sky, they're deprived of female attention, so even the slightest interest from abroad is going to make them jump through a lot of hoops. Like the only reason I'm even resistant to it now is because there were so many of them on Skype, on Reddit, even some on this site, Discord, everywhere. I mean, it was just driving me crazy. I couldn't keep torturing myself talking to a bunch of people who didn't give a damn about me. Mark decided to appear again. He made his grand return. We're gonna roll out the red carpet. Man, that call messed up my schedule. I was laying down, and then all of a sudden I started getting all these notifications. I was like, "What the hell?" Mm. I mean, I literally woke up right before doing the stream. That's how messed up that call was. Okay, Megumi says they want you to be the entertainment monkey while they go and pursue someone else they actually want to be. Well, that's what I said. If the guy is so damn great, why doesn't he do the entertaining and then get the screwing too? Think of how weird that like, dude, she's like a movie. She has to have one guy that does the banging, and then you're the guy that does the comedy, and then she has some other dude doing the drama. A placeholder. Hey, what's another term? Remember, I think I said before that they treat you like filler from an anime. Like when the main material slash the guy she actually wants you around, we're gonna pretend you didn't happen. Oh my god. I figured you have a bunch of women getting at you when no, it was about I think maybe three. And dude, that experience really I used to actually believe that the chances were much higher to get with someone if they do the approaching. Now I don't even believe that matters because they all came to me and they all found little like stupid ways for nothing to happen. Like the one broad that says she wanted to get married and then a week later reneged. That one was actually pretty smart because she didn't do any of the little like what's a good word for it? Because she was in a religion that encouraged not being a stupid host, she actually didn't do a lot of that dumb stuff. She still did the I can't make up my mind crap, but she was way better than the rest of them, which is why it's so unfortunate that she acted like an idiot. If you ever met the so-called one, wouldn't it be difficult to go through the romance stages due to knowing how? Well, that's my point. That you've been like when you know that over and over again this fails, you have no incentive to try it again with another person. Like there are chicks right now posting on Reddit, "Oh, come get some," and I'm good. They don't actually say anything that direct, but you get the point. That I can't look at the supposed new people who might be the one and say that that hasn't been said to me year after year. Dude, for me to actually think abroad was serious, they're gonna have to like move some mountains. They're gonna have to, you know, take some initiative that's not just starting a stupid phone call. Just like that one broad from Texas that wanted me to come to her state with what was it like $500,000 for a hotel room, and I'm like, to do what? And she would never explain. So I said, I'm not going in that filth. So that's a good way to get robbed or assassinated or some other horrid fate. You should be happy you haven't met the one and then get stabbed decades later. Hey Megumi, come to my state with $500,000, even though I won't tell you what you need it for, and I won't tell you what I'm going to do with you. Do you know how many marriages dissolve after 10 plus years? No, I don't. Well, I do know there's a declining marriage rate and birth rate, which is why I said that people, we can actually, it's like people always say it's just your opinion that chicks are this way, but you have proof that they don't want to stay with men. They're getting worse in terms of keeping a relationship going. Who put up an advertisement of wanting to chat to guys, go over 20 guys to talk, and did some kind of role play with you, but decided to stop abruptly. Yeah, that's the one that was like, "Oh, I want to spank you and put you against my lap," and then yeah, she met a guy in real life and underwent a personality metamorphosis. And I was like, what the hell? And then tried to get me to talk to her platonically. And I was like, no, thank you for confirming you wasted the last 20 days. Would you like to meet the one, marry her, and then she divorced you 25 years later because she got bored? More of these stories and say bye to your retirement. I mean, I gotta tell you, Sky, just understand my position. I would probably rather be married for 25 years and have it end abruptly than have to keep putting up with this like cycle of getting called gay while you're getting rejected by chicks. And it's just, you know what I'm saying. It'll be a nice change of pace. Because I'm really sick of this whole stuff. So people don't even get married anymore anyway. They just have bastard kids that they spit out and then use to get revenge on the other person. Like that one couple that gets mentioned here quite often. Now that broad surprised me. I was like, you wrote all this sexual stuff just to. That's why I said I don't believe in romance because it's just too much red herring. It's the same thing with the interactions that are platonic. I think I mentioned I had the one broad who I asked if they were all right because they're in a place where the virus is like going crazy, and then they claim that they were so concerned about me as well, then they don't respond to my message for like until I hit them up again 2 or 3 weeks later, and then they just abruptly stop. Like, man, this is stupid. That's why I said I don't. I can't take people seriously because they say one thing 1 minute, and then a day later they're on a different tangent. Especially the chicks, man. Those ones are the worst. On her, and man, that was insane. I was really disappointed with like that. That pissed me off so much because it's. I know we talk about chicks are all do a lot of similar stuff, but it's very rare to see one that was doing something or saying sexual stuff. Um, because even with the other two, they were very rare. Or they don't do any of that. So that was just another curveball thrown my way, another trick. Flip and change their mind on the fly like you changed shirts. We're gonna have to make a shirt with that. Hey, it's gonna have on there chicks change their minds like I changed these. I'm gonna have my own merchandise store. Do you think it's better to interact with women online or in person in your experience? The thing about in person is that there I want to say maybe in person just because at the very least you don't have to message them over and over. Um, but the other issue is that even if you meet one in person, they still could be doing the same stupid stuff as the ones online. Like the one in person that I said I'm romantically interested in you, and then she gave me her number and said she had a boyfriend. It's like, oh, that's why I said the chick stuff is a scam. It's just a bunch of weird bras that are bored. Plenty of men destroy their lives over women who they weren't married to after. Imagine how that you would feel emotionally and mentally after decades of marriage. I personally won't take the chance. I mean, you don't have to. I was just saying how I felt. It was just an opinion. No one's forcing you to agree. I'm just saying that's what my position was. So you can relax, Sky, and just cool off. So men are basically screwed either way. Yeah, that's what it sounds like, Mark. Because between all the games they play, and then when you actually get in a relationship, you get treated like trash. I don't really see where's the where's the silver lining. But that's why I said that interactions are all. So would you consider that it is all down to luck? Oh, definitely. Look at the broad. She got a guy that was willing to do all that stuff for her, not because of her personality or her great looks. It's just you know she was lucky to have a vagina, and the guy was lucky because he met some chick that would be so dependent on him that even when she was crazy enough to curse him out, she still wasn't crazy enough to break the relationship off. But when I think about that situation, I don't really want to be in something like that where you have to basically take care of some clown that will strut around how they're so independent, but then they can't even, pay their own bill or whatever. Like not even a mortgage or anything, but just something small like a storage unit. But they want you to believe that they're so mature and all this crap. I don't know who they think they're fooling. Yeah, just I don't know. Relate like friendships, relationships. They all just seem so fake. Oh, it's definitely disturbing because it means that all that stuff people tell you on here is not actually true. It comes down to fate, basically. And I've just been let down too many times by chicks to think that they're as different as people like to claim that they are. And I'm done blaming myself for someone else's decisions. I only know to be accountable for what I do. So I come on here and make some video where I put somebody's pictures and information up. That's my fault. But if they say no to going on the date after I say how interested I am, after they say how interested they are, that's their fault because they decided for it not to take place. And when you come on here, you do get blamed for the decisions of others. Pretty much in any capacity. If your video doesn't get enough views, it was your fault for being boring. If some chick doesn't want to go on a date with you, you're not you're too ugly for her. If some person that claims they're your friend will treat you like trash and I watch your video after you gave them a whole month to watch it, you should have told them to watch it sooner. Yeah, Mark, the only reason I even spoke to Lady Lack and Logic was because that was a social experiment. I wanted to see how long I could talk to a broad without like any romantic urges on my part. That's why I didn't ask her on a date until after we spoke for like 7 or 8 months. Yeah. What was the other thing? And then with the one from this past week, that was only because she came to me on YouTube. If she hadn't have come to me, I never would have met. Certainly never would have spoken for 2 months before she acted like a complete idiot. Yeah, the person trying to make it work is the reason it doesn't work. How crazy is that? That's why I said that's the Twilight Zone. Well, Mark, that it was a long period because there was no romantic stuff attempted by me. I literally sat down and said, I will not make any romantic passes toward this person. It never works. It's never worked. And it's probably not going to work here. So that's why literally until the last call, none of that for me. Even when we met in person, no, nothing. Didn't try to initiate any kind of fit because I'm not trying to. You can actually get in trouble for that unless if you're not aware. He touched me. He touched me. And that'd be funny if I sent her a message because the last time we spoke was in October, very briefly. I'll be like, I miss you so much and I can't live without you. All that little stupid stuff they love to write. And then imagine after I'm like after I read all the sentimental crap, I'm like, if you would just open your legs for me once, I swear I'd leave you alone. Or with that guy, I realized how special our friendship was. If you would just watch my whole damn show, all is forgiven. It really is just crazy thinking about all the stuff guys will put up with just to stay with broads, though. Remember what happened to that guy? He paid for a storage unit. He got put in jail by the chick. Um, got. I mean, it was like I don't would get cursed over the phone by her while he was doing these things while this was going on. I don't get the appeal. That's why I said I'm glad I'm the way I am. I don't you don't let me tell you something. The essential things that people need are food, water, and living expenses. And as long as you have those three things, you can manage without the rest of it. Even with my channel, you don't need this channel. You can go watch something else. If you want some entertainment, or go whack off. So don't let any of these clowns on here try to trick you into thinking that you need to talk to them to survive. And you'll be so screwed up if you don't speak to me and all that trash. So I think I've spoken long enough. I'm about to go for a walk and I'll go get something to eat. So thank you for watching. I hope you're having fun in your hour of quarantine, the never ending stay at home order. And have a good day.